In the last episode, we talked about how to monetize your book even without selling more copies. There, I broke down two kinds of assets, soft and hard assets, and cited examples of each. Today, we're going a step further back to the very beginning, thinking beyond your book before you even write it. Welcome back to Storybook Remix. I'm your host, Bayo. Storybook Remix is the podcast where we help children's book creators like you repurpose stories in creative, profitable ways, extending their impact far beyond the page. And in this episode, we are talking about a powerful mindset shift. Don't just write a book, build a brand. Before you write, think bigger. Before you even pen your first draft, ask yourself, what is the bigger opportunity this story could lead to? Because your children's book isn't just a book. It's a launchpad, a brand asset, a story world that can expand into apps, read-along videos, activity packs, courses, licensing deals, and even animated series. And here's the catch. You don't need a massive budget to start. You just need a big picture lens and a plan. Audience first, format second. One of the biggest mistakes new authors make is focusing solely on the book format, paperback or ebook, without first thinking about the audience or readers. Traditional publishers have marketing teams and distribution networks. I like to think those are the most defining elements they possess over self-publishers. But in today's digital first world, you can build your own audience and you can start before the book even drops. Now, this isn't a walk in the park. It's a process that requires time, consistency, and there are different approaches that one can take. In my own experience with my book, The Accent, I pivoted from launching a paperback to creating an interactive story app. Over time, that decision led to hundreds of downloads and, more importantly, sign-ups to my mailing list. That's an asset. That's leverage. Now, that's one approach that leverages my technical expertise and understanding of the app ecosystem. Specifically, my understanding of the benefits associated with features that can be built into apps, such as a sign-up form, informed my decision to pivot my story from a paperback into an interactive story app. Why? Because apps offer built-in engagement. They let kids experience the story and not just read it. And that's what gets people talking and sharing. Another easy entry point, video. You can take your story illustrations and turn them into a read-along video complete with text highlights, voiceover, and soft background music. Upload it to YouTube and suddenly you're no longer just an author. You're a content creator reaching global audiences, many of whom would never stumble on your book in a bookstore. How do I know this? Because it worked in one of my previous businesses even before I knew what I was doing. Following a recommendation from a friend, I repurposed a single static story into a visual narrative, and that video went on to get thousands of views, which led to brand awareness and sales of related products. That's the power of choosing the right format for your audience. Now, in both cases, I have to admit that I created the works first before thinking about my audience growth. In hindsight, it should have been the other way around. That should have meant that the format of the story or book comes after considering which would get me the most eyeballs. Case in point, focus should be on the audience to start with, and that's why for my most recent book, The Accent, I decided to approach things differently. Planning opens doors. Here's a real life example. Now, thinking big picture can also influence the partners you attract for your book project. When I began work on my book, The Accent, I knew I eventually wanted to turn it into an interactive app and a video. Armed with this, the first person I sought as a co-author was a friend who also happens to be a professional animator. My friend Tugu is a highly skilled creative whose works cut across 2D and 3D animation and design. I sold him the vision and he gladly bought into it. To that end, he single-handedly managed the animation video series development alongside his apprentice, Emmanuel. Why, you might be asking? Was it just about the sales for him? No, rather, he saw the big picture. The video series today serves as his portfolio for the opportunities. And this ties back to my episode on monetization. Working on The Accent was an opportunity to showcase his soft assets. Another thing that my big picture approach ensured, even before finalizing the manuscript, was to filter the sound engineers I wanted to work with. Thus, when I started researching studios in my local area, one studio stood out among the dozens I came across. And by this I meant the way that its founder and engineer, a guy called Stefan, responded to my email query. He asked about my vision. He read through the script that I shared, he thought through it and thought about the possible nature of the recording that I needed for a voiceover. And he also offered to help me cast my voiceover crew if I hadn't any. He didn't just say yes to the job, he bought into the bigger picture. In the end, he lived up to his reputation by helping me cast and direct the voiceover actors alongside his engineering duties. He went far and beyond, introducing me to a music producer who ended up creating the original soundtrack for the animated version for free. One story, one plan, multiple outcomes. So, how can you take action? Here's a practical framework I call plan before you publish. One, define the big picture. Ask yourself, what else could this story become? Two, identify your audience first. Parents, teachers, digital natives? Three, choose your entry format wisely. Is it the book, the app, the video? Which one do I start with? Four, build with repurposing in mind. Create assets once, use them many times. Five, find partners who share in your vision. Share the plan and collaborate early. Now, to wrap things up, writing a children's book is no small feat, but writing one with a big picture mindset, that's how you build a brand, not just a book. So before you write your first draft, ask yourself, what is the full potential of this story? Because when you start with that question, everything changes. You don't just publish, you position yourself for growth, for partnerships, and for long-term success. Thank you for listening. And if you found this helpful, please share it with another children's book author who needs a little encouragement to look at their work in a new light. Until next time, keep creating, keep imagining, and keep remixing your story.